you for choosing the Scottsboro case. It occurred in 1931, and it was perhaps one of the most interesting, extraordinary, and tragic cases in the American justice system. In Paint Rock, Alabama, in the middle of a nationwide search for jobs, that is the Great Depression, people would literally walk onto trains and ride from town to town in a helpless search for a job. And in the midst of this growing stress, a fight breaks out on the train between 9 black boys, teenagers ages 13 to 21, and a couple of white boys. It started when one of the white boys stepped on Hayward Patterson, one of the black teenagers. The fight broke out into a huge brawl, and eventually the train had to stop in Paint Rock, the town right next to Scottsboro. And as the black teenagers and the white men got off the train, 2 white women also exited the train as well, Victoria Price and Ruby Gates. The white women accused all 9 of the Scottsboro boys of raping them. Of course, in a southern town, this accusation was handled very quickly. The initial trial lasted only 1 day on March 5th, and 8 boys were sentenced to death by the electric chair, and 1 got life in prison. What makes this case so incredibly unforgettable is jaw-dropping is that the 2 doctors, 2 hours after the alleged rape, examined both of the girls and found no signs of rape. Yet neither doctor testified, therefore leaving the jury with no evidence that no rape had been committed. Another incredible testimonial to this case is that Ruby Bates recanted and said the alleged rape never happened. The only reason these girls accused the boys of rape was because they were actually prostitutes, and the Federal Mann Act restricts crossing state lines with the intentions of committing a sexual act of prostitution. Because they had been accused of prostitution on the train, they didn't want to get brought up on federal charges, so they claimed the boys had raped them. When the case was brought up to the Supreme Court, they found a lot of fault in the case and remanded it back for a retrial. At this time, more evidence was gathered when detectives looked closer at the train and found that not all, but most of the Scottsboro boys weren't even in the same cart as the girls were. And even this evidence, and Dr. R.R. Bridges, when they finally testified on behalf of the boys, saying the woman didn't look harmed, the Scottsboro boys were still convicted. Over the retrials, eventually each boy was let out one by one over the course of 18 years. Some escaped and went to Michigan, where the state of Michigan refused to give them up, knowing they were convicted felons, because they knew what the state of Alabama was doing was wrong, holding obviously innocent men in custody. It's incredible. It's a truly incredible case. Yes, they were eventually found not guilty, but prime evidence in support of the defendants was found the day of the incident, and not until 18 years later that evidence was overlooked purposefully. There were two major U.S. Supreme Court rulings in this case. One upheld the defendant's right to an effective counsel under due process, and the other prohibited an exclusion of jurors based on race. The Scottsboro case was a milestone for the Supreme Court and the justice system of America as a whole. Although still just being a man of color, you were and to this day are a prime suspect for a crime in this country. That is a sad truth. However, with the addition of these 2 rulings, black defendants have a much larger shot for a fair trial. Thank you for watching. Click any of the links on the screen if you want to see more.